What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for MLB Saturday, April 16th.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon.
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to go over my top DFS picks for today's MLB slate.
And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made.
Okay guys, we have a 6-game slate tonight. So let's take a look at the pitcher position. I like Justin Verlander pitching against the Seattle Mariners. And the Seattle Mariners have only hit 4 of his last 34 pitches. That's a 118 batting average. He's 10,500 FanDuel salary, 800 less on DraftKings. And he scored 33 fantasy points in his last game. And he didn't pitch last year, but he's back up and rocking and rolling here this year. So he's a stud pitcher, and Vegas thinks this is going to be a low-scoring game. 7.5 runs scored in this game. That's their over-under. So I like Justin Verlander here versus the Seattle Mariners. Now, if you want to save some salary at the pitcher position, I got 2 guys that I'm looking at, Adrian Hauser and Jameson Taillon. Kind of a coin flip for me between these 2 guys. They're both right around the same salary. Well, they're about the same salary on FanDuel. It looks like Jameson Taillon is priced way down on DraftKings. So I guess the way I would play this is Jameson Taillon on DraftKings and Adrian Hauser on FanDuel. So let's just take a quick look at these guys. Adrian Hauser is only giving up a .600 OPS versus righties. He pitches his best ball versus righties, and he's facing 6 righties here tonight. On top of that, the Cardinals have only hit 26 of his last 105 pitches. That's a 248 batting average. He's 8,800 FanDuel salary, 200 less on DraftKings. He averaged 24 fantasy points per game on the season last year, had an ERA of 3.23. Record was 10-6 on the season, and was pitching an average of 84 pitches per game. So I like Adrian Hauser here versus the St. Louis Cardinals. And then Jameson Taillon, he's pitching against the Baltimore Orioles. He's a balanced pitcher, pretty much pitches the same across the board. Gives up a .731 OPS versus righties, facing 5 righties here tonight. And the Orioles have only hit 6 of his last 26 pitches. That's a 231 batting average. He's 8,600 FanDuel salary, and he's 1,600 less on DraftKings. So I like that DraftKings price. He had an ERA of 4.30. Record was 8-6, pitching an average of 82 pitches per game, and averaged 25 fantasy points per game. So I like Jameson Taillon, especially on DraftKings, here versus the Baltimore Orioles. Okay, let's take a look at the catcher first base position. I like Mitch Garver with a 24% batting advantage over Noah Syndergaard. Mitch Garver is batting 24% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .984 OPS versus righties. Mitch Garver is 1 for 3 versus Syndergaard, and he's 3,300 FanDuel salary, 700 more on DraftKings, and he averaged 9 fantasy points per game on the season last year. He has a batting average of 256, and Vegas thinks there's going to be 9.5 runs scored in this game. So I like Mitch Garver here versus Noah Syndergaard. Okay, let's take a look at the second base position. I like Ian Happ with a 5% batting advantage over Antonio Senzatella. Ian Happ is batting 15% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .769 OPS versus righties. Antonio Senzatella giving up a .675 OPS versus switch hitters. But I like this pick because Ian Happ is 4 for 5, batting .800 with a 2.033 OPS versus Senzatella. He's $3,600 FanDuel salary, only $300 more on DraftKings, averaged 9 fantasy points per game on the season last year. Now, only has a batting average of .226, but Vegas does think this is going to be a high-scoring game. 11.5 runs scored in this game. That's their over-under. So I like Ian Happ here versus Antonio Senzatella. I also like Jose Altuve with a 24% batting advantage over Chris Flexen. Jose Altuve is batting 12% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .869 OPS versus righties. And Chris Flexen, he pitches his worst ball versus righty batters. 12% worse than his pitch to lefties, giving up a .793 OPS versus righties. And Jose Altuve is 3 for 8, batting a .375 batting average and a .944 OPS versus Flexen. Altuve is $3,600 FanDuel salary. He's $2,000 more on DraftKings. Averaged 12 fantasy points per game on the season last year. Got a batting average of .278. So I like Jose Altuve here versus Chris Flexen. Okay guys, it's time to announce the winner of our $25 weekly PayPal giveaway. And the winner is Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith, congratulations. You are the winner of this week's $25 PayPal giveaway. Please reply to our comment to collect your prize.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, let's take a look at the third base position. I like Nico Hoerner, and he's got a 7% batting advantage over Antonio Senzatella. Nico Hoerner is batting 20% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .816 OPS versus righties. Antonio Senzatella, he's giving up a .698 OPS versus righties. But Nico Hoerner is only $3,000 FanDuel salary, $900 more on DraftKings, averaged 8 fantasy points per game on the season last year. And I like this pick because he has a .302 batting average, so good chance he's going to get a hit here. In a high-scoring game where Vegas thinks there's going to be 11.5 runs scored in this game. So I like Nico Hoerner here versus Antonio Senzatella. I also like Jonathan Villar. So I think this is a good value play on FanDuel. Jonathan Villar has a 10% batting advantage over that same pitcher, Antonio Senzatella. It's not like Antonio Senzatella is an awful pitcher here, but these splits are just working out, and the price points, the salary on these guys is what kind of is drawing me to these picks, on top of the fact that this is going to be a high-scoring game. So Jonathan Villar is batting a .773 OPS versus righties. Antonio Senzatella giving up a .675 OPS versus switch hitters. Jonathan Villar is 1 for 4 versus Senzatella. He's only $2,700 FanDuel salary, $1,400 more on DraftKings. Averaged 8 fantasy points per game on the season last year, and he's got a batting average of .249. So I like Jonathan Villar here versus Antonio Senzatella. Now I also like, here's the real value play, especially on FanDuel, but on both sites. I like Isaiah Keener-Falefa with a 58% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Tyler Wells. Isaiah Keener Falafa is batting 19% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .711 OPS versus righties. Tyler Wells, he pitches his worst ball versus righty batters, 39% worse than his pitch to lefties, giving up a .653 OPS versus righties. There's no at-bats versus Wells yet, but Isaiah Keener Falafa is only $2,200 FanDuel salary, $1,600 more on DraftKings. Now, I think I picked him in yesterday's video. Unfortunately, he went 0 got 0 fantasy points, but that happens. And he scored 18 fantasy points the game before that. And his salary is low enough here where you can even take a donut and get away with it. And he's got a good matchup here. So I like Isaiah Keener Falafa here versus Tyler Wells. Okay, let's take a look at the shortstop position. I like Corey Seager batting against Noah Syndergaard. Corey Seager is batting a .785 OPS versus righties. And I like this pick because Corey Seager is 7 for 14, batting .500 with a 1.357 OPS versus Syndergaard. Corey Seager is only $3,200 FanDuel salary. He's $1,800 more on DraftKings, averaged 11 fantasy points per game on the season last year, and he has a batting average of .306. So I like Corey Seager here versus Noah Syndergaard.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, moving on to the outfield position. I like Aaron Judge with a 31% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Tyler Wells. Aaron Judge is batting a .867 OPS versus righties. Tyler Wells giving up a .653 OPS versus righties. Now, Aaron Judge is 0 for 4 versus Wells, but I think he's due for a hit here. And he's $4,000 FanDuel salary, $1,400 more on DraftKings, averaged 12 fantasy points per game on the season last year, has a batting average of .287. So I like Aaron Judge here versus Tyler Wells. Now, I also like Mookie Betts batting against Hunter Green. Mookie Betts is batting a .869 OPS versus righties. And Mookie Betts is $4,000 FanDuel salary, $1,300 more on DraftKings, averaged 12 fantasy points per game on the season last year, has a batting average of .264. So I like Mookie Betts here versus Hunter Green. Now, I also like Cedric Mullins. Now, I believe that we picked Cedric Mullins yesterday, and he also got 0 fantasy points, but he's in a great spot here tonight, so I'm going to pick him again. And it looks like hasn't scored in the past 2 games, and he put up 35 fantasy points in the game before that. Let me just check. Was that this season or last season? Yeah, it actually was this season. 3 games ago versus the Brewers, he put up 35 fantasy points. So this guy can put up those fantasy points. He's just gone cold the past couple of games. So I think it's a good time to strike with Cedric Mullins, who's got a 20% batting advantage over Jameson Taillon. Cedric Mullins is batting 14% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .947 OPS versus righties. Jameson Taillon giving up a .773 OPS versus switch hitters. Looks like he pitches his worst ball versus switch hitters. And Cedric Mullins is 2 for 5, batting .400 with a 1.4 OPS versus Talion. And he's only $3,100 FanDuel salary. Now he is $2,100 more on DraftKings, but I love that FanDuel price. Averaged 11 fantasy points per game on the season last year. Has a batting average of .291. So I like Cedric Mullins here versus Jameson Talion. Now, this might be my favorite play on the slate. I love playing this guy when he's facing righty pitchers. Actually, I take that back. He's going up against a pretty decent pitcher here, but the splits are still pretty good. So I like Michael Brantley with a 25% batting advantage over Chris Flexen. Michael Brantley is batting 37% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .928 OPS versus righties. So he bats really well versus righty pitchers. Chris Flexen is giving up a .699 OPS versus lefties. And Michael Brantley is 3 for 9, batting a .333 batting average and a .777 OPS versus Flexen. 2 singles and a double are those 3 hits. He's $2,900 FanDuel salary, $1,300 more on DraftKings, averaged 9 fantasy points per game on the season last year, has a batting average of .311. So I like Michael Brantley here versus Chris Flexen. Okay, now here's a value play. This guy kind of stuck out to me. Take a look at Joe Adele with a 34% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Taylor Hearn. Joe Adele is batting 11% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a .750 OPS versus lefties. Taylor Hearn is pitching 23% worse to righties as he does lefties, giving up a .776 OPS versus righties. And Joe Adele is 4 for 6, that's a .667 batting average, and a 2.334 OPS versus Hearn. 2 of those 4 hits were for home runs. And he's only $2,200 FanDuel salary. Now he's $1,800 more on DraftKings, but he averaged 10 fantasy points per game on the season last year, has a batting average of .246. So I like Joe Adele as a value play, especially on FanDuel here versus Taylor Hearn.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this MLB slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.